This is David Goldman, Asia Times Deputy Editor, speaking to you from New York City on May 6th. One of the really cruel things about inflation is that it distributes rewards arbitrarily. It's good for debtors, it's bad for creditors, because debtors get to pay back their debts in devalued money, and creditors receive devalued interest payments. It's good for some industries that can pass on cost. It's bad for others whose cost inputs crush their profit margins. And what we want to do is to make sure that you are one of the economic actors who unfairly benefits from inflation while other people unfairly suffer from it. How do you do that? Well, remember that the Federal Reserve wants a certain amount of inflation, and above all, it wants a steep yield curve. And remember that the Biden administration, for all its talk about renewing American prosperity, is extremely hostile to certain parts of the American economy, particularly those that produce things that put carbon into the atmosphere. Now, if you look at the chart, it's clear that some sectors have done much better than others, and the two best performing sectors this year have been the ones that we've been talking about, namely financials and energy. With oil trading in the low 60s, we've had a pickup in the exploration and development sector, ETFs in the U.S., of more than 40% year to date. That's the best performing sector. And number two is the financials, up about 21% year to date, for reasons we explained. The Federal Reserve wants a steeper yield curve. It wants inflationary expectations to push longer rates up faster than short rates, because that allows banks to borrow short and buy medium-term Treasury securities, which the U.S. government is desperate to sell, and which the Federal Reserve is buying most of. So stick with the program. The Federal Reserve is not going to tighten interest rates anytime soon. They'll pretend there's no problem, because if they tighten interest rates, they'll have trouble supporting the Treasury market with its trillions of dollars of new issuance this year. They'll pretend there's no problem until the problem is obvious. That's probably next year. So for the time being, we expect the yield curve to steepen, we expect money to be plentiful, we expect inflation to continue. So stick with the sectors that benefit from inflation. One footnote on oil prices: oil has roughly doubled from the 30s to the 60s over the last 8 months. But remember, it wasn't too long ago, back in 2014, that oil was trading at $100 a barrel. The rig count worldwide, total oil rigs in operation, has gone from about 2,000 on average in the 90s and 2000s to over 3,000 during the 2010s to just 1,200 today. It's the lowest on record. If people are not investing in oil and there's demand for oil, prices should continue to go up, so we continue to be oil bulls. This is David Goldman, Asia Times Deputy Editor in New York City.